Beloveds, today we are talking about the Spirit of UNI. We are talking from the fundamentals of UNICULT. It is a chapter near the end of the book. And let's see what page, 114. Okay, so if you have the book, you can turn to page 114. Eventually, we're going to have a little workbook that you can fill out as you go through the book and as you check it out. So the first thing that I noticed about this chapter today is how far near the end of the book it is. And it's interesting because as a religion, usually you would want the God to be at the beginning of the book, right? Like you would want to know about God first and foremost. In Christianity, everything starts with God. So that's how the Bible is written. God exists before anything else. And that's interesting and that's great and dependent on time. But in UNICULT, the Spirit of UNI chapter is at the end of the book. And I think it's important to acknowledge because this book was channeled and the structure of the book was channeled as well, and it's all divine. It's all divinely written. So why is the Spirit of UNI, the chapter about our God, the energy that we pray to, our something higher, why is it at the end of the book? And it's because in UNICULT, all these other chapters of morals and brainwashing and thinking deeply and spiritual leadership and ultimate reality and suffering, these are aspects of practical living. And UNICULT is a solutions-based organization. And one of the solutions of UNICULT is that it's not a religion that is designed for every single person to practice exactly the same. It's a religion that acknowledges that your unique connection to something higher is your unique connection. Another reason why I think it's very interesting that the Spirit of UNI is at the end of the book is because UNICULT is a very logical religion. I designed it from a place of atheism. I designed it from a place of nihilism. I designed UNICULT as a technology to bring myself into a state of near constant joy. So the rest of the book helps you open up your mind to the different potentials that might exist in this world. It opens up your mind to the reality that divinity is a gift. Divinity is a blessing. Divinity can help us accomplish and achieve our own unique joy. And divinity, as we know it in our own hearts and as we understand it by our own practical exploration of our own internal state, actually unlocks a logical, spiritual, fundamental state of joy that we each deserve to have access to. So what is the Spirit of UNI? In UNICULT, we pray to the Spirit of UNI. I pray to the Spirit of UNI every night before bed. Sometimes I also pray to God. And my relationship to the Spirit of UNI, my relationship to something higher, my relationship to my divine energy as it is cultivated through my opening of my own consciousness to something higher manifests as something that is very structural and very practical and very logical, and that's what the Spirit of UNI is. And it also manifests in this way of unknowable beauty and grandeur, of something that is completely beyond my comprehension. So practically speaking, when I pray to God, I'm praying to an energy, is usually when I feel more helpless, right? I'm like, oh, I have no idea what's going on. I have no ability to change my life. I have no ability to get out of what I'm in. I feel stuck. I feel trapped. I pray to the highest possible energy because I was raised in a, Judeo-Christian society. I think of God in a certain way, and not that I think of him as a man in the sky. I think I've changed my conception of God, but the comfort of appealing to God comes probably through the way I was raised. My relationship with God is my own relationship, and I want to remind you all that your relationship to something higher, your resentment towards something higher, your open-mindedness towards something higher, the comfort that you get from something higher is directly related to your relationship with your parents when you were a child and how much comfort and love and support that they offered. If you have resentment toward God, you probably actually have resentment towards your parents for not caring for you well enough. And that's a very interesting experience that we have of this microcosm of our belief and of our faith. I just want to acknowledge that because it can help you break through some of these limitations that you have with regards to your faith and with allowing yourself to feel comforted and loved by these divine cosmic energies. So the Spirit of Uni, I've been talking about God. Is the Spirit of Uni God? It really depends on your philosophy. And in Unicult, we don't dictate that philosophy to you. It's up to you to decide. Many people in Unicult believe of the Spirit of Uni as God, and many people see it as a secondary divine energy to pray to. So let's go ahead and read the chapter. The Spirit of Uni is that which connects all dimensions. It is the highest officially acknowledged concept in Unicult. Highest, grandest, probably this needs to be edited. We're trying to get away from these concepts of hierarchy in Unicult, and that's okay. All dimensions exist within the system of the universe. For things to exist within a single system, no matter how different they all must have at least one thing in common. The universe is full of wonderfully varied things, many of which are the same and many of which seem like anomalies. Ultimately, though, they all have at least one thing in common, that is the Spirit of Uni. Let's talk about the structure of the Spirit of Uni. The structure of the Spirit of Uni is like, I think of it like a spreadsheet. I think of it like a grid. I think of it like a system of organization. I think of it like the thing that holds everything else. And I don't mean that it's physicality. I don't even mean that it's necessarily the consciousness that permeates all things. When we're thinking of divinity and we're thinking of God and we're thinking of the Spirit of Uni, we're allowed to think of it however we want. And however your mind has a proclivity to organizing data or organizing ideas of love or organizing reality, you can apply your understanding of reality to your concept of the divine, and you can apply it to that. So for me, the place that the Spirit of Uni came about is this idea that even though you and me are really different, right? We're all one. And even though I am really different from this green screen background or from this computer or from this ring light or whatever, I'm not these things, but there's an aspect of reality that connects us. And for many of us, we would think, oh, that's physical reality. Physical reality, the physics generator that we're operating under, is this idea that we are living in a mutual space, that we are all occupying the same physical reality, and we can all, we can shake hands, we can touch, we can talk, we can call each other on the phone. We're using signals that are etheric, that we call microwave radiation, to talk on our cell phones to each other. We're communicating through the internet, which is just through pure light. So the reason why I don't use physical reality as this ultimate underlying structure is because our reality is more than physicality. Even our connection, even our emotions, even our love. You can say, oh, well, it's just because of the physical hardware that we're able to transmit these signals. Oh, it's just because of our endocrine system and our adrenal system that we're able to have emotions. There is a physical aspect of all of the parts of our reality. That's true because we're interacting in a physical reality, in a physicality-based reality right now. But as we study physics and as we study space and as we study our own internal emotional states and all the different cosmic energies we can experience from our consciousness that don't even seem to touch our physical bodies in many ways, if at all, perhaps in our mind and our hearts, but it seems to be operating on an energetic level, we start to open our mind up to the idea that there is more to reality than just pure physicality. And in Unicult, we often say that consciousness is the underlying component of the universe rather than physicality. And it's from this presupposition that we expand our consciousness. It's from this presupposition that we learn how to value our internal states. And honestly, it doesn't matter what's true or what's not true. What matters is your own feeling state in every single moment. The reason why we believe that consciousness is the fundamental aspect of reality rather than physicality is because for many of us, it brings us a sense of comfort, it brings us a sense of joy, it brings us a sense of wonderment, and it opens up our reality to the galactic, cosmic, beautiful, universal understanding that there is more than meets the eye, that there is infinite potential. This understanding, this belief of infinite potential opens our hearts, opens our happiness, opens our faith, opens our joy, opens all these aspects of humanity that we cultivate, that we carry in our heart, that we need in order to be happy. The goal of UNICULT is to spread joy. It's a collaborative effort dedicated to the promotion of joy. Joy and our own understanding of reality that makes us happy is the most important thing in the universe. If you're a nihilist, if you're an atheist, if you're a miserable person, and I'm not saying all nihilists, all atheists are miserable people, but when I was a nihilist atheist, I was a miserable person because I didn't have the faith, I didn't have the belief, I didn't have the unending infinite potential of joy to comfort me and to bring me into a state of ecstasy, of the unknown, and of trusting the universe to be grander and greater than I could see. I was boxing the universe into my physical reality, and I was saying, well, this is all there is. It must be miserable. It must be negative. It must be bad. So for me, and this is going to depend on you, if you get existential joy, if you get ecstasy in your body, in your blood, in your bones, in your mind, if you get simply energetically fueled with passion and joy at the thought that the universe is purely physical, then believe that. I can't prove it. You can't prove it. Believe whatever you want. But for most of us, believing that consciousness is alive, that everything is alive, that there are grander, greater things beyond us, allows us to tap into that energy of joy. So what is the Spirit of Uni? The Spirit of Uni is the structure, the consciousness structure that allows all things to operate on. If we're reading a book like Warped Passages by Lisa Randall and we're studying dimensional theory and we're saying, okay, there are a million bajillion different dimensions and we are only noticing or occupying an infinitesimal percentage of these dimensional realities, even when viewing the reality of physicality first, then we can start to say, maybe we don't know it all. Maybe there are other entities that exist. I often love the thought experiment. Okay, we're here on Earth. We're living in a physical reality. We're saturated with cosmic rays. We're saturated with the electromagnetic spectrum. And we're saturated with sound waves. And we're saturated with gravity waves. Because of the way that our bodies are formed, because of the way our sense organs are created, our eyes see a percentage of the electromagnetic spectrum, okay, that gives us visible light. That's everything we know. We literally look at this small little percentage of the electromagnetic spectrum through our physical sense organs, our eyes, and we say, oh, this is reality. And we go about our lives thinking we see and know everything, even though it's the smallest percentage of just one spectrum of light. A spider, for instance, based on my downloads, science can tell me I'm right or wrong, I don't care. A spider has all different eyes that pick up all different frequency ranges. Massive amounts of information, completely different than a human. I saw a spider reacting to someone who had their camera, and whenever they were focusing their camera, they weren't even taking a picture. The spider was jumping as if it was being attacked. And that's because the spider can see and feel and sense the infrared technology that the camera is using to find the subject and to focus. It's shooting out infrared rays, and the spider is feeling that, okay? So our perception of reality, our understanding of reality is obviously very limited. And when we start to open our mind and say, wow, there are other creatures, entities, maybe aliens, maybe whatever, conscious energies that exist in non-physical spaces or even in physical spaces that have different sense organs that can pick up a completely different radiance of energy than we can as humans, we start to realize that maybe we don't know as much as we think we know. Maybe we don't have all the answers. Maybe the universe is full of mystery and wonder that we can never comprehend. This mystery and this wonder can extend beyond our comprehension. And if you spend time in meditation, you spend time contemplating this, you might become overwhelmed and say, wow, so pretty much anything is true. From this place of realizing that anything is true, that there are infinite possibilities to reality, that there are infinite possibilities to consciousness, that there are infinite possibilities to data and manifestations of how that data is interacting, and data beyond physicality, and data within different electromagnetic spectrums and other energetic spectrums and different frequencies that we haven't even discovered yet, that we can't even feel or understand, then you start to say, well, how in the world do all of these completely different realities interact with each other. They're all part of the same system overall. You can think of it as God, you can think of it as the Spirit of UNI, however you want to think of it. You can think of it as the universe. These are all little baby words where humans are like trying to explain the grandeur of reality, right? Space is so expansive, and the potential for different realities is infinite. So how is it that we're all here in this same reality? How is it that I can comprehend of an energy that is completely outside of my experience? How is it that in meditation I can have a glimpse of an understanding of some cosmic reality that is absolutely, almost inherently untied to my reality? And it's because we are all one. We are all one. We are all part of the same collected consciousness. For all of us to exist in this massively diverse way, this singular consciousness must be the greatest glory imaginable. For this single collected energy to exist in the universe as the universe, there has to be at least one thing that connects every single dimension, every single energy, every single potential. There has to be at least one cohesive rule or law or expression that we all abide by so that we all exist within the same system. If something doesn't have the same, at least one of the same attributes, it can't be part of the same system. And I don't know how else to describe this. Sometimes I think of it like a spreadsheet. You know, you look at the spreadsheet, it all has to be on the spreadsheet for it to exist. If it's not on the spreadsheet, you could think of it like a grid. Sometimes I think of it like the grid of space-time. If it's not on the grid of space-time, it can't interact with us. But the fact that we can imagine these things means that they're connected to us in some way. So what is that connection? My answer to this question is the Spirit of UNI. The Spirit of UNI is the one thing that we all have in common. And here on earth, we call it love. Love is the fundamental similarity that exists through every dimension. It is not only something that we feel, but it is what we are made of. It is what we all have in common. No matter how different we are from one another, no matter how different we are to a spider, to a space alien, we all have love in common. And you might look at it and say, well, love isn't the same, like it can't be the same. Not everybody's going to experience it the way that we experience it. The way I think of love is, I'm a mammal. I'm like a monkey body. And I'm like, oh, love is when other monkey body like wraps its monkey arms around you and like strokes your hair and tells you that they love you, right? A spider's not going to have that conception of love. No. A spider's going to understand the Spirit of UNI in a spider way. An alien is going to understand the Spirit of UNI in an alien way. It's the same energy that we're all experiencing, and we each have our own unique connection to it, but we're all connected to it. It's a philosophical thought experiment, but the idea that love is the fundamental aspect of the universe, that what we call love, that feeling of satiatedness, of satiety, whatever it's called, of feeling loved, of feeling whole, of feeling complete, and of that longing to feel complete is the part of the grander picture that we all share, no matter if we're in a curled up dimension or an atom or a quantum bit or qubit. We all share the Spirit of UNI. Let's see what else the chapter says. Page 114 again, if you have the book. The Spirit of Uni is experienced in many different ways depending on your positioning in the universe. It is always experienced positively. On Earth, we experience the Spirit of Uni as love and love-based humor. The laughing joy you get when things are benevolently synchronistic is the humor I speak of. The love you feel from trees or from another source of unconditional love is the love I mean. Unicultists are welcome to use the Spirit of Uni as their something higher, but it is best used alongside a personal expression of a personified deity, whether it be God, angels, ascended masters, or your higher self. The reason why I suggest that you use another deity on top of the Spirit of Uni is because sometimes we as humans need some kind of humanistic energy to attach to. And when you're meditating on the Spirit of Uni and you're meditating on the grandeur and the glory and the mystery of the infinite expanse of the universe, sometimes you don't always feel like that's the most comforting energy that could possibly exist. On the other hand, when you send a prayer out through the Spirit of Uni, you know that that prayer is being heard on every single aspect of reality that resonates in love. Use the Spirit of Uni to pray to when you feel called to it, but also allow yourself to expand your consciousness to believe in God or angels or aliens or even just your higher self as an energy of comfort, as an energy of peace, as an energy of love, as an energy of care, as an energy to help heal you from the ways that your parents fucked up. We have a lot on our plates right now, with the world and with our trauma and with each other. And we're all seeing things in a new light. And it's beautiful, but it's overwhelming because we're all seeing the role that we each play in creating a brighter and more hopeful future. Utilize your spirituality as a way to nourish yourself. Utilize your spirituality as a way to balance your energies. Utilize your spirituality as a way to find internal peace. Utilize your spirituality as a way to find hope. Utilize your spirituality as a way to navigate your difficult emotions. Your spirituality is essential to your happiness. I used to think spirituality was dumb. I didn't want anything to do with it. I wanted to be smart. Being smart is the opposite of being happy. And honestly, the smartest thing you can do is be dumb. Because when you're smart, you don't allow yourself to do the things that make you happy. Because it's an ego-based reality. Let go of all the ideas of how you think you should be and embrace what your heart craves. Embrace what your heart desires. Embrace those things that light you up from inside. Let's do a closing prayer. Spirit of Uni, we call you here to this beautiful chat today, this beautiful live stream. We're calling you to every viewer in the past, present, and future to show them the glory and the grandeur and the mystery and the wisdom of the infinite expanse of the universe, and help each person see that they are not small, that they are connected to everything, that their expansive nature is the same as the expansive nature of the universe, and that inside of each of us we have the entirety of the whole. We are all one, and we pray that we are all one in happiness and in joy and in harmony. Uni bless. Thank you all for joining me for this beautiful Cam Church. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. If you're in UNICULT, we are doing Address to the Cult. Give me about 5 minutes and we'll do Address to the Cult, and you'll hear some really exciting announcements. Uni bless.